Boss Please. What's up, bosses? Welcome to another episode of Boss Please. This is Malynda, and I'm here with Jillian and Megan.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Oh, so mellow today.
Yeah, you know, it's just like one of those lazy days. For me.
I was really energetic earlier, and now I'm just like,
No, you're not. You're over it.
No, I will. I'll get peppy.
Well, let's get peppy and talk about how we were bosses this week.
Okay, so I was a boss this week because I went to the doctor.
Peppy real fast.
I know.
Yeah. Now I'm really excited to talk. Okay, so I went to the doctor, and we do like my yearly physical because I'm big up on health and all of those things. So she basically told me that because my desk job has me sitting 8 hours a day, I'm going to die sooner.
Didn't you tweet that out?
I did.
Yeah.
So what I did was, so a couple months ago, we went remote. So I don't have an office anymore. My home is my office. I bought the coolest standing desk from Amazon, and it literally sits on your tabletop. So I put it right on top of my kitchen table, and now I'm standing for like 5 hours a day, which is amazing. And hopefully, you know, it will help me lose those 5 pounds that I've been wanting to lose. We're just, you know, trying to live our best lives, not die sooner than we need to. And it was definitely a wake-up call.
Wow, I need to use my standing desk more. I have one at work, but I'm lazy AF.
Yeah.
I want to get one. That sounds fun.
I'll get you a link.
Sounds good.
Love it. So for me, I was a boss. I was I'm starting like my own side hustle, like helping people with their social media, and I feel like I'm kind of like what you've talked about a lot. I say yes to a lot, but sometimes in your gut, you know when you have to say no, especially if this person doesn't seem like a match, even though you want the money and obviously you want the work. I just was sort of like, I can't with this one person. It was not a match, and I knew it would stress me out more than it would help me financially. So I was like, yeah, listen, and I said no, and it was hard for me to say no, but I did, and I was proud of myself.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do that.
You just have to. You have to.
Well, it wasn't necessarily just this week. It's been like over the last couple months because you all know I don't know how to stop. So I'm touring Europe next year.
Oh yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Thanks for
God,
sharing.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm only doing Germany and France because that's just where I have a fan base. But so I started working on those tour dates. So I'm excited. It'll be in April of next year.
Oh,
Yes.
can we come?
My husband's coming.
Well, we can still come. That's fine.
If you want to come to Berlin, you can come to Berlin.
Oh,
Megan.
yes.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, so like we're pretty #relatable on this podcast because we like to be honest and we like to just tell our listeners how it is. But I got the maybe dumb idea now that I'm thinking about it to talk about one of our grossest habits to hopefully relate to you guys. My habit is particularly disgusting, but I want to hear from
Jill, I'm nervous. No, you tell yours
No, you have
first.
to go first.
You
Okay.
came up with this. You have
yeah,
to tell it
I'm
first.
with Megan.
That way I know how weird
How
I
deep
can
we're
get.
getting. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think this is like vile, and I still do it, and whatever. So my upstairs bathroom is disgusting, and I think that's in part because I live with my boyfriend, and he is disgusting, and also has like a red beard, and his beard hair is everywhere, and he doesn't put the cap on the toothpaste. It's like spit is all over the sink. Like, it's just gross.
Side note, he doesn't listen to this, so she's going in.
Yeah, I'm going in. But like, this is actually something that he called out about me, and like I still haven't self-corrected. So like, he was cleaning the bathroom the last time because I refused, and he was like, "You are disgusting." I was like, "Why, babe? Like, why? Why am I so disgusting?" He's like, "Your toothbrush. I have an electric toothbrush, and like, I guess I just don't wipe it down after I use it." There's literally like a pile of crusty spit on the charger that just grows. And I don't know why I don't wipe it down. I think maybe because like I don't want to get it on my towels because like I wipe my face with my towel or whatever. But like if you go upstairs in my apartment right now, like it is just crusty AF.
Okay, Melinda's
I'm
trying
about
not
to
vomit.
throw up
I'm
because-
like, that's completely normal.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
No, because that is the same speech I give John all the time. It is so nasty. it's like green and like gunky and just like it because it drips from.
Yeah. I knew I liked John.
Oh my God, I'm gonna
No,
throw up.
I feel like mine's like that too.
It's so gross. How do you not clean? I literally will go into the room and be like, "Why aren't you clean this?" It's so oh my God, like yeah.
No, girl, you're fine. Like
Okay.
I think that's norm.
So like, what's yours?
Oh my God, you guys, I'm like going in.
Go.
Wait, I'm embarrassed because my mother listens to this podcast, but like,
Whatever.
oh
hey, Patty.
God. Well, she knows. Hopefully, Dad doesn't listen to this one. You guys, I'm so embarrassed to say this. Okay, so do you guys? Okay, maybe this is just me. I mean, it is a habit, but it's not really my fault. It's like a dysfunctional habit. Mm-hmm. After you guys like do it, do you get gassy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No, because things get shaken
Things are
up.
moving in there.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to so many people,
okay,
and I'm
this
like,
is totally going to be an explicit episode, but like all the suction, there's like
Yes.
pushing air.
because I talked to so many people, and they're like, Megan, why do you get gassy? It's not
They're
your
lying.
buttocks area. It's like your vagina.
No, but
and
you're
I'm
pushing air
yeah,
up into.
yes.
They're
So I
lying.
get so embarrassed
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
the first thing I have to do after sex is like rip ass. And like, so I have to go into the bathroom, and then like, you don't want the guy to hear.
But you
so,
also
like,
should like pee anyway because UTI.
yes, well, I
Yes,
pee. But
yeah.
then the worst thing is if you're going to fart in the toilet bowl, because that's very, very loud. So
It
I
could
kind of like
happen.
open my butt.
So you don't like hear any flapping?
Yes, you know, so that way
my-
it just comes out like air, like.
The visual.
That
Okay,
honestly,
I just
like-
see you spreading your cheeks.
I do, because I can't have anyone hear it, and it makes me feel better. And I'm like, oh my God, the air is coming out, and there's no vibration.
You don't have a fan in your bathroom that makes it like loud?
That's loud.
I'm never at my place. Let's be real. I like to
gosh.
leave. I don't stay.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my moment, guys.
Let's hear yours, perfect Malynda.
I know my husband's gonna be like, can't wait to hear this because I got a lot to say. I'm such a hypocrite because I hate when people burp.
Mm-hmm.
But I burp all the time. Like I'm so
I've never heard you
nastier.
burp.
You won't. I'm so nastier on my husband. My husband gets everything. God bless him. But yeah, just like gas in general.
Do you think vegan burps are worse?
Vegan farts are the worst thing in the entire world.
I can see that.
Like my dog has looked at me like, really?
yeah, no.
Yeah,
but
they're-
we've all been there.
Yeah,
like we've all
for
been
sure.
there.
But I am trying to be perfect, Malynda. My husband would be like, "You're disgusting."
I used to have to cancel so many dates when I
Because
had
of gas?
before my gluten allergy, before I knew it was
Oh,
gluten,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
it smelled like something died in my stomach.
It smells like a dead animal.
Exactly.
No,
and I
for
was
sure.
like, I can't go on this date with
sure.
you. And the guy was like, why? I kept canceling on him. I ended up telling him I have really bad gas. We never saw each other again.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. The only like uncleanly, like besides like hygiene thing, the only uncleanly thing that I am not good at is dishes. I will let dishes pile up for like weeks, and
Nasty.
that's the one thing that John can't deal with. He does the dishes, but he won't clean anything else.
Okay.
You
It's
guys,
really
we may
fun,
be
yeah.
bosses, but we nasty.
We're disgusting.
I'm actually glad that we talked about this because I feel like I learned some stuff that I
It
didn't know.
humanizes us.
It
Yeah,
does.
I
I'm
appreciate
really,
that.
I'm excited.
Now you know that Megan and I have gas problems, and Jillian doesn't clean her toothbrush.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm just a slut. Anyways, speaking of a woman who's unapologetically herself, we have Shannon McClain Robertson going to be in studio in just a few minutes. All right, guys, welcome back. We have Shannon in studio with us. Shannon is a digital executive who specializes in new media development and branded content. In the past 14 years, she has worked both in front of and behind the camera as a writer, producer, host, editor, casting director, stand-up comic, actress, and public speaker. Recently, she was a part of the writer's room on BET's new talk show, The Man Cave. And prior to that, she edited comedy pilots for Black Girl Bucket List and The Woman Show. Shannon's background in writing comedic content has made her a whiz at creating engaging branded content for short-form digital distribution. Her producing skills, honed while working for E! Entertainment for 7 years, has enabled her to lead a team and see projects through from inception to delivery. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, there we go. In her spare time, she writes and performs stand-up comedy at the world-famous Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank
We're
you for
so excited
having
to
me.
have
Yeah,
you
we're glad to
here.
have you.
So,
Yay.
The woman who has done it all.
Yes,
Literally done it all. That's
absolutely.
why I
You
was
gotta
like,
have a hustle in LA.
Yes,
you
you
know?
do.
You
Yes,
have
you
to have
do.
many different talents. You've got to utilize those talents if you want to like survive out here.
And that's literally what you do.
Yes.
It's amazing. How did you first get into entertainment?
Okay, so I moved out here right after college. And at that time, I was dating a guy who lived out here. And I thought I was coming out here to be an actress. And I was super duper green. I knew absolutely no one. So I realized that I needed like a job to pay the bills. So I actually contacted a friend of mine. She was actually a friend of my boyfriend at the time. And I knew she worked for E! Entertainment. And I said, hey, like, I've done some internships in production while I was in college. Like, I don't really have much of a resume aside from that and like waiting tables, but do you think you can get me in? And the next day I had an interview at E! So I started out working in the original specials department and just, they threw me in. I was like in the edit bay, you know, helping editors digitize videos, because back then that's when we had videotapes. So you had to make them digital.
It's funny. I don't know what years you were there, but Jill and I interned at E!
Yeah.
And I remember that was like our job. We used to have to go and get the tapes.
Do you remember that? Like
ingest.
300 tapes on a
That's
card.
amazing.
And then people would be working in there. You'd open it. It's like an igloo. Everyone has like their sweatshirts on. It's like, I need tape number.
Yep. You'd have to hunt them down. You'd have to go to other edit bays and like try to steal them from people. It was a thing.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing though. And it's great that you had that connection and you were there for 7 years.
Yeah. I learned so much while I was there. Started out as a production assistant and then just got promoted to associate producer. I worked on the Daily 10 with Kat Sadler, Debbie Matenopoulos, Sal Masekela. So then from there, I jumped over into the live events department, and then that's when I was promoted to a segment producer, and that was just so much fun, so amazing, getting to like be on the red carpet at the Grammys, at the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and getting sent out to do interviews. And it was a great way to learn everything, like every aspect of what it takes to create television.
Amazing. So let's talk about your most recent project.
Yes.
I went on the BET website and I looked up the cast and everything. And I was just curious, from our listeners' perspective, you know, they're probably not used to like what a writer's room is or like. So what is that like?
It's basically a room where everybody comes together and, you know, throws ideas out there. So I would actually come in on the second level. So we have the producers who bring in stories, they bring in like hot topics, because the Man Show is similar to The View, where it's guys talking about things that are going on in pop culture, in the news, the hottest topics on Facebook and Instagram, but it's edgier because it's guys, you know, and it's black men. So they're going there with it. They're telling things from their perspective, which I really loved. But we did have women that were there present to kind of let them know, like, okay, well, this is the women's perspective, so just be aware if you guys are presenting information in this way, this is how women are going to take it. And there were women executives that were present in the master control room when we were actually taping the show. So it was just a lot of fun. We would get into some heated debates in master control, in the writer's room. But it was fun, you know, everybody was free to express themselves and say what they felt about different topics. And then our hosts were just amazing. They were so funny. Like, there were times I was sitting in master control, just like tears rolling down my face because they were just hilarious.
That sounds like a dream.
It's good that you were able to bring the female perspective, though, because I imagine writing for an all-male cast was probably difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the cast, we would kind of like, I would assist the head writer. So our head writer, Adrian Dukes, he knew the voice of each of the talent that was out there. And then obviously the talent, the script was kind of loose. Like, they would go off of the script on the teleprompter, but they would also inject their own feelings and emotions into it. And obviously the talent got to see the script before, you know, they would be a part of the script writing process as well. But it was just kind of to keep them on track, to make sure that we got through all the beats and the points that we needed to get through for the show.
That sounds so fun, but obviously you've been in entertainment for a little while, and so with that comes a lot of toxic environments. Have you been in that, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because I think working in the entertainment industry, working in Hollywood, you're working with a lot of big egos sometimes. You're working with a lot of creative people who are very emotional. So you kind of have to learn, especially when you're starting out as a production assistant, as an AP, you have to learn how to deal with these delicate egos. But at the same time, you also want to respect yourself. You want to set boundaries with people and let them know when they're crossing the line, like, stop right there, like you're taking it too far.
Yes.
And you also want to be confident enough to bring your perspective and your, you know, who you are to the table and not be afraid to put that out on the forefront.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so important.
It can be hard. It's not easy for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I kind of talk about this a lot because I'm in entertainment, celebrity news, and gossip. And the line is very thin because what we talk about is very loose. So, like, you know, we're talking about nip slips and we're talking about sex tapes and we're talking about these things. And I think nowadays people think it's maybe not right now because of all the things that have been happening, but that it's okay to cross that line when it's not. And I'm sure you've dealt with that a lot.
Absolutely. And I think people are a little bit more aware right now, but also there are times when people will use it as a joke. Men will use it as a joke, like, oh, I must be like offending those who are a part of the Me Too movement. And sometimes you just need to call them out and be like, yeah, actually you are.
Exactly.
You know, you are.
Well,
So,
have you
stop.
seen a shift at all? Because, I mean, you were working during it, and we're sort of at the year mark almost. I mean, the fall was like when Harvey Weinstein, this whole scandal broke, and sort of the industry started talking about all this stuff. So have you seen anything change, or at least it's being talked about?
I think definitely there has been a shift, but there's still a lot of people that haven't been exposed and people that are still getting exposed and people that are afraid of being exposed, I think, because of things that they've done in the past.
100%.
So we're still in like a very tenuous time, I think, where we're still figuring things out, and men are getting educated and learning about what things are and are not appropriate in the workspace. And even up to this point, I still have situations where I might be around someone who is a higher level than me, and they may and they know that I'm married and they know that I have children, and they still might try and cross that line, either because, you know, they're drinking, or we're in a work party, because, you know, a lot of shows that you work on, there'll be wrap parties where their alcohol will be flowing. You're at a nightclub, and then people get a little loose with their lips and they think that they can say anything. So that's the point where I just draw the line and I'm like, no, this is not appropriate. Pump your brakes and step back, you know? But it's very hard as a woman in TV, in music, I think is even more difficult, because that's more of a man's world where men are still in these positions of power. So they feel that you are below them and that you're beholden to them and that you need that paycheck. So you're going to put up with them being flirtatious with you or coming on to you or asking you to have a threesome with them, like just the most random crap that they think is acceptable. And I think by us realizing that and making more opportunities for women to be in positions of power and for women to be the gatekeepers, that's when we're going to see the balance, you know, swing and shift in the other direction.
I never thought of that because, you know, our world is TV, but Malynda is primarily in music. And Malynda, do you, like, can you relate to that?
I mean, a little bit. I stay home a lot. So unless I'm performing, I'm usually home. But yeah, I definitely think as far as positions of power and everything like that, for sure. Absolutely. Because they think, oh, well, if you want to make it, quote unquote, or you want this, or you want this deal, you want this performance gig, and you know that I control that, you'll do whatever to get it. But I think that women are getting less and less desperate and more caring about themselves. Yeah. And it's taking people aback, like, oh, she doesn't care that much about like fame or about this, like she actually wants to be respected. Like it's weird, like they don't know how to handle that we're like standing up for ourselves now. And I don't know what the shift was, but I love the shift that's happening, you know, and I don't know when it actually started happening, but I love that it is.
Did you see the interview that was recently done? I think it was with the woman who had worked for Russell Simmons. It had like blown up last week on Facebook. Her last name is Dixon. I can't remember her first name, but she did like a 45-minute interview talking about her experience starting out in the music industry, working under Russell Simmons, and what happened with that situation. And then other people she worked with afterwards, where she had a great experience. So as she said, she got to the point at that point in the 90s, 2000s, where she was like, you know what, I'm just leaving the industry because I keep coming up against all these men that are in power, and they don't want to make room for a female like herself who wanted to be a music executive. She's like, they're just not making that space for me.
Right.
I think things have shifted, and I would like to see more of a shift and more women in those positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had talked about it a little bit between like my coworkers, but basically that the whole exposure of the music industry hasn't really happened yet. And like, when will it actually happen? And
it's coming.
Yeah. Like, and it's almost where you're watching like a pot boil.
Yeah.
And it's gonna boil over.
Yeah.
And again, like it's turned into this whole crazy thing, but there have been so many wonderful things that have come out of it since, and we are seeing female executives, and we are seeing shifts in all of these major companies. And it's a really exciting time, and you know, you've seen it all, which is really great. Like you've been there for it, and now you know, you're a powerful working woman, and there is room for you at the table.
And a working mother, which brings me to my next question. Having 2 kids and doing everything that you do, like, how do you balance that?
I don't know that I do. I think I'm still figuring it out. My oldest son is 2.5. My youngest is 16 months old. So they're still really little. And I had actually left LA for 3 years when I first met my husband. We moved abroad. I gave birth to my first son abroad. And then when we came back, it was like I didn't really know how I fit in or how I would be able to be a wife and a mother and still make time for being a creative artist. And I just really had to let go of the fact that, you know, I'm not going to be able to work on sets for months at a time, 16-hour days. Like, that just isn't my life anymore. If I did that, then I would have to pay a nanny and I'd have to allow someone else to raise my child. And that wasn't what I wanted. I want to be present with my kids. So now I'm just very selective about the jobs that I take and the gigs that I sign up for. And I have to choose things that are going to allow me to try to create that balance somewhat. And so for me, stand-up comedy has really been that. Like, I can write anytime. I can write jokes when I'm, you know, driving down the freeway or stuck in traffic. I can do a voice memo like, oh, this idea can be a joke. I can write when my kids are asleep, and then I can go out and do stand-up when they're in bed, you know, when dad is at home. So that for me has been a wonderful creative outlet. And I had gotten into stand-up originally years ago and then kind of got away from it for a while. But it's so awesome to be in this season of my life as a wife and mom and get to share, like, the trials, the tribulations, the joys, the stress of all of that through stand-up comedy.
I admire people so much that do stand-up. I love watching stand-up. Like, and I love watching stand-up comedies. Oh, sorry. I know I'm so bad with staying close to the mic. But that has got to be terrifying.
Yeah, it scares the crap out of me.
The first time you went on stage to do comedy, what was it, or do you still get nervous?
I still get a little bit of nerves, but I think because I've been performing for so long, like from doing dance class as a kid and musical theater starting in middle school, I don't get like nerves where I feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. I get like exhilarated. I get those butterflies that are like, oh yeah, I can't wait. And then the high after you're done of like, yeah, I did it.
But comedy's a different thing because there's pressure because you're like, I gotta make these people laugh or I gotta make them relate, and it's just like,
and it's all on you.
Completely. Like, it's just you and a microphone. That's what I'm like, that's scary.
Well, if you're with a microphone.
But I have a band on stage with me, you know what I mean? It's totally different. You have support. You're literally by yourself.
Oh yeah. And I've flopped before. Like, don't get me wrong. I've gone out there and been like, you're in the middle of a set and you're just like, this is shit. Like, these jokes are not playing with this particular audience. This was not the right set to do. But it's all a learning experience. And I'm still like learning. Like, I actually just took a job 2 months ago working at as a server at the Comedy and Magic Club down in the South Bay, close to where I live. So in the evenings I go and I get to watch amazing comedians on stage and I get to make some money. It's like a nice little side gig, but it's like my way of being in school. And I took a stand-up comedy class, Pretty Funny Women. It's taught by Lisa Sunstead up here in the Valley in Sherman Oaks. And so that really prepared me for joke writing, for being up on stage, even simple things like how to handle the microphone. Like if you're not taught that stuff, like take the microphone out of the stand, don't be awkward, don't leave the microphone in front of you to upstage you. Like as soon as you get up there, move the microphone behind you.
I do notice people do that.
Yeah. It's like these are the little things that just kind of give you that confidence, and Lisa taught us all of that. And she created a safe space for women to get up and talk about things that we want to talk about. Because people tend to say, oh, women aren't funny. And that's just not true. At all.
Yeah. I'm going to look this up.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Because I like things that scare me. And stand-up comedy scares me.
It's a good challenge.
I mean, I don't know if I'd ever like, I don't know if I could do what you do, but like just to take a class.
You can do it.
Sure.
Absolutely. And there's a graduation show too at the end. So it's like a 6-7-week class.
Do it.
Then you get to go up with all the girls in your class, and everybody invites friends and family, and you get to perform.
I already feel like I'm going to throw up.
In front of you get to perform in front of a very supportive audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just make you guys come and you just
We'll
laugh.
be there.
Yeah.
You just laugh anyways, even if
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Jill did some digging on something super interesting about you. And you want to ask it?
Which one?
About her birth.
Oh my gosh, your birth story.
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
Wait. Okay, so I am on team like drug me up.
Yeah.
Don't need to feel it.
Yeah.
Could be lucid.
Yeah.
Totally on
You
that
had a
team.
natural birth. Why?
Why? Because I'm an idiot. That's why.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. I watched one too many like YouTube influencer who's like, you can do this. Our bodies
And you
were
believed
made
them.
for this, and I believed that. So
Oh my
I
gosh.
did like a natural water birth with my first son. And it
In
was
Europe.
in Korea, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I gave birth to him in Korea. So like there's that. Like not everybody in the room can
And then you
actually
said
speak
never again.
English. No, and then I tried it again. Because I was like, you forget. That's the thing about
Right.
giving birth is that you forget
Oh my god.
what your body went through. It's like, I don't know. This is why the human race continues, is because as women, we forget what it was like. And we're like, oh, I want to do that again. Like 15 months later, I want to do that again.
Oh, wow.
But the second birth was even harder. And that's another thing, another lie from the pit of hell. They tell you the second birth is going to be easier and faster because your body knows what to do. Nope. This baby did not want to come out. He was like 3 weeks late.
Oh my god.
Who is
3 weeks? That
who
had to feel like
stays
an
in?
eternity.
Right. Like 43 weeks, like going on being pregnant for like damn near 11 months. Like that's not right. That's not human. Right?
No.
That's a year of your life.
Yeah. So they had to induce to get him out. Turns out he was stuck in there. That's why his little hand was up by his head. So, I'm like, oh, I did it natural the first time. I can do it again. Next time, I will get the drugs before I even get to the hospital.
Yes.
Because
And if you
it was
forget,
no
we'll
joke.
play you this
We'll be
episode
like,
again.
Yes.
Please remind me. I am not Mother Earth.
Oh
I
my
want all the drugs, all
gosh.
of them at once.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I felt it. I've experienced it. That's
You've done
rough.
it. You've
Yeah.
done it. You're queen.
And now you remember.
Now the drugs.
Now
Now
I
the drugs.
remember.
Do you
very
want more?
clearly. I would like another child.
Oh,
I
love
would.
it. I love it.
Like if my husband hears this, not anytime soon, baby. Don't get too excited.
Yeah.
We'll revisit that in maybe a year. Yeah, we'll see where we're at.
I love it.
Well, you're a mom, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're a host, you're an editor, casting director, stand-up comedy, actress, public speaker.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever tell you do too much?
My husband for sure.
I can sympathize with that because I do a lot of things as well. But why do you take on so many things?
You know what? I don't do them all at once, and that's something that I try to remember is like, you can do it all, but just not all at once. That's the reality, like there's certain seasons in my life where I've done certain things. Like I haven't done very much hosting recently. That was kind of in my past. I think I did one hosting gig this year, but that's okay. And it was fun and it was exciting. Now I'm really focused on writing, doing stand-up, I just recently did a sketch with some amazing women, Jacqueline Revere and Jamai, and both of them wrote this amazing sketch of Cardi B for me, so I got to play Cardi B.
Can I hear an
see that?
Oh,
I like it like that.
so that was so awesome. I got to, don some fabulous wigs and some so tight clothes. I got to, channel my inner Boricua. Like, okay,
Yes.
Offset. Okay, where the baby culture at? Okay, honey.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So that was so fun. Just to play, just to like let loose, and being a mom is it just takes all of your attention to like keep these little kids alive, especially two boys. They're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They're toddlers now, so they're climbing and jumping and running and so amazing, and they're both mama's boys. But it's nice to do something that's just for me.
Yes.
It's nice to remember that outside of being a wife and mom, I'm still Shannon. I'm still an artist. I'm still a creative person. So I like to just make sure that I take that time for myself.
It's so good you just said that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, how do you self-care? So you
Yeah.
do that.
I
Any other
do.
tips?
I take time out for like journaling, even if it's after the boys go to sleep, before I go to bed, I'll journal just about my day or any creative ideas that I might have floating around in my head. I want to like put it on paper before I lose it.
Yeah.
And taking time with my girlfriends. Like after this, me and my best girlfriend, she's also just gave birth to her second baby. I'm taking her out to see Crazy Rich Asians.
So
for
good.
her birthday.
So good.
I
I
haven't seen it yet.
can't
I need to see it.
Awesome.
Oh my God. And we're going to have drinks. Like we're
Yes.
doing it.
Fun.
It's going to be an early movie. We're going to the 6:30 show. So she can be back home for her baby by 9:30. But we're going to go and have drinks before. So just making sure to maintain those relationships with my girlfriends and like exercising, yoga, running, like whatever I need to do to take care of my body. Makes me feel better about myself and gives me the clear mind space to be able to focus on kids when I need to, focus on myself and carve out some time for daddy too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think he's the one who probably, but my husband's so amazing. Like he's super patient and he, probably gets the least of me, which is not the way it should be. He should be getting the most of me. But I think it's also this season too. Like 2 little kids. We're only going to have little kids for a very short time in our marriage. Then they're going to get older and there will be, more time for us and for romance.
I know I'm sidetracking a little bit,
No,
but
go
just
ahead.
curious about your marriage.
Yeah.
You met him out here? I'm looking for hope.
You know what? I actually didn't meet him out here.
Okay.
I should write some stand-up about my dating life in LA. It was horrendous.
Oh, girl.
Oh,
We can partner up
Megan
and
can
write
preach
some
to
stuff.
the choir.
yes. Horrendous. I could not find men in LA who were serious. It was just all like looking for the next best thing. You know what I mean? Like no
I'm
commitment.
bowing right now. I'm bowing. She's hit the nail on the head, people.
It was a hot mess. So I had actually just ended, because I got to the point where I was like, you know what? 3 months. If at the 3-month mark I'm not satisfied with what this guy is bringing to the table that I'm dating, then it's done.
Good.
Like I was just ready. I was ready for partnership. I was ready for like my man. So I had just ended a 3-month, dating relationship because the guy was not showing up the way he said he would. And I was done. I was over it. And then I got hired to host down at the Essence Music Festival in New Orleans. So this marketing company flew me down there and I met my husband down there.
Oh,
That's awesome.
It was like love at first sight. And he actually was he's from Seattle. He was living in Seattle at the time.
okay.
So he worked for the marketing company. We met there. We spent this amazing week together, listening to awesome music, like eating great food.
Oh.
And then I was like, wow, that was fantastic. I'm sure I'm never going to see this guy again. But he gave me hope that there are good guys out there.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really just went into it just like, that was awesome, like it was great. Release, let it go. I'm going back to LA. But he kept calling. He was
You're
like,
I
love
couldn't
it.
get rid of him.
yeah, exactly. He actually
No.
called and we developed this relationship over Skype, like talking for hours every single day. And he was just all about family. Like he was ready. He's like 6 years older than me. So he just showed up in the relationship. And then we started a long distance. Like I would go and visit him and then he would come down and visit me. But I mean, within the first 3 months, we both knew that we wanted to be together. And so we committed to doing the long distance thing for 6 months. And then we were like, at that point, we need to decide what we're going to do, because we're both grown. We grown ass folks. We need to be together in the same city. So we decided, actually, as a couple, that we wanted to go abroad. We both wanted to leave the U.S. and move abroad and just have an adventure together before starting our family.
Love that.
So we moved to Korea. We lived in Seoul, Korea. We thought it was just going to be for a year, but we really enjoyed it. So we moved there, and well, we got married first, because I was like, okay, hold up. You want me to move with you to a foreign country?
We're going to lock this in.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing that as your girlfriend, obviously. And he's like, oh, I mean, yes, of course, we're getting married. Hello. So we did. We did a Justice of the Peace wedding in Seattle. And then we ended up a year after that, after completing our first year living in Korea, we had a proper formal wedding in Italy. So all of our friends and family flew in, and we had like a small wedding in Italy and just traveled around Europe for like 3 weeks. And then we came home, spent some time home in the States, and went back to Korea for 2 more years.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And you've been married how long?
We've been married, it'll be November. Actually, we have 2 wedding dates. Our September 21st wedding date will be 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Our Justice of the Peace wedding. Yeah, that was like our legit wedding.
I love that.
I love that. That's amazing. Oh,
yeah.
Hope. Okay.
There is hope.
There is hope.
Yeah.
So
look outside of LA.
Yeah, right.
That's my advice.
No, Megan, it's okay. It's okay. So earlier in the show, in order to humanize us even more than we are already humanized on this podcast, we talked about a gross habit that we have. And I just thought maybe our guest would also talk about a gross habit that she has. So
gross habits.
Yeah.
What were yours?
Oh,
inspired.
I'm embarrassed.
So,
I'm not telling you mine.
Pretty bad. She doesn't clean her
Lord.
toothbrush, and we have gas problems, basically.
Oh,
That's what it came down
gassy.
We went there.
Okay.
We went there. But you don't have to go there. I mean,
If you don't, whatever you feel comfortable
sharing.
sharing.
Ladies,
So-
I mean, the glamour that is Shannon McClain Robertson. I have absolutely no gross habits. Yeah, right. My husband would be like, and then she,
Oh my God,
then
this
she.
sounds like
That's
Malynda.
I literally
Exactly.
just said that. I was like, my husband's gonna be like, you lied. You didn't say this. You didn't say this. You didn't say this.
I'm trying to think of the grossest thing, because I'm actually like, I like things very, very clean. A little bit OCD, but having 2 kids, you kind of have to let go of that. I guess I don't, change my toothbrush out as often as I probably
hers
should.
was a toothbrush thing too.
Yeah, I have an electric toothbrush, and I just let it get like nasty.
Yeah. Or like my makeup, like I have one of those face cleaners, like
yeah.
I've never changed the head on that thing.
That's
Do you
a
change your
good one.
pillowcases?
I do.
Yeah,
I'm big
I
on
do.
pillowcases
Okay.
and sheets. Yeah.
I have a
The
silk
makeup is a
pillowcase.
good one because I
Yeah.
feel the same. I had the same beauty blender for a little while now. I'm like, Meg, I'm like breaking out a little bit. I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
We need to do something about this.
I need a new beauty blender. I need to clean my makeup brushes way more often than I do.
Me too.
I mean, that's gross, And
But
they're
we all
just
do
floating
it.
around in the bottom of my makeup bag. Like, they're here right now. Disgusting. Disgusting.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I guess the last question we want to ask you is, I mean, what would you tell someone else that has multiple talents like yourself? What advice would you give them?
I would say just be open to kind of the universe telling you what it is you should do at that moment. You can utilize all of your talents and all the gifts that God has given you, but you don't have to do it all at once, because you want to be sane and you want to take time out for self-care. So, just do what it is, like whatever the opportunity is that is setting itself in front of you at that time, grab it, snatch it, take it, enjoy it. And then when that might run out, then shift to the other talents, because for me as an actress, like, I'm not always getting like co-star roles or guest star roles on shows. I wish I was, but that just isn't what presents itself all the time. So that's when I need to like, okay, maybe this is the window of time that I have to focus on writing. Like, I actually wrote a pilot with my husband.
Amazing.
That we put into the macro episodic lab. So we're waiting to hear back if we've gotten, promoted to the next phase of that competition. And so it's just using my time to do the creative stuff I love and just be grateful for the opportunities that are presenting themselves.
That's really good advice. I took that.
Absolutely.
I needed that. Well, thank you so much for
thank you
coming.
for having
and
me.
So great
Thank
to
you,
meet you,
ladies.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.